Hey everybody, I'm Jared Pettit. I'm a mix engineer, guitar player, bass player, producer, all kinds of stuff. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment below, tell me what you think of the amp. It's awesome. Today, I want to talk about Carvin V3 and high gain metal tones. There's quite a few videos on this amp. Only a few really touch on high gain metal tones. I'm pretty good, but there's some things I think the other guys missed on this that I want to touch on. I've had this amp for a long time. I had it about 16 years, bought it back in 2009. It's been my main amp for a very long time. I've played tons of shows with it, tons of different styles of music, so I know it very, very well. Let me go over some of the features real quick. It's a 3-channel amp. Channels 1 and 2 are exactly the same. There's no difference, so that way you can kind of just choose different gain structures in the same tonal properties, or you can actually change them quite drastically, whatever you want to do. The third channel here is a clean channel. And then you have your master section here. Okay, so on each of the channels 1, 2, and 3, you have a presence, treble, mid, and bass knobs, your drive, and then your volume. I believe the same for the clean. Yes, same for the clean. And then you have an EQ X switch, which changes the Q value of the treble and the bass pots. It widens them out quite a bit. So we'll go over that in a little while. Then you have a switch that has 3 different gain structures on it. Thick is the bottom one. It's pretty, well, it's thick. It's very saturated. The more you pull the gain up, the more saturated it gets across the whole frequency spectrum. It's not a tight channel whatsoever. It's very loose. Good for doom, kind of fuzzy. The mid part of the switch is kind of a classic overdrive with a little bit of a mid hump to it. And then up at the top is insane, which is a tighter low end, much more compressed, very high gain. So we'll go through all those. Your master section here, you have your master, your boost, which is a foot switchable boost up to 9 decibels. It does not boost the front end of an amp like a boost pedal. It is just a volume adjustment for if you want to do solos live and cut through a little bit. You have a bright, which is even higher up in the presence, a mid cut, which we'll go over in a little bit, and then your deep. These 2 switches here are your effects loops. You have 2 of them. One is just a straight inline effects. The other one is a parallel. So if you have any type of effect like a chorus or a flanger maybe, where you want it in there, but you don't want it completely wetting the signal, you can blend it with that, or you can just have it completely in, blended 100% and have 2 dedicated effects channels, whatever you want. So real quick, let me go over this mid cut here. Let's talk about this mid cut knob for a minute. It's a little confusing to most people. The way the manual describes it is it starts about 900 hertz. As you turn it up, it becomes a deeper cut, but it also widens down up to 400 hertz as well. So it expands it quite a bit. It's not just a singular in one spot and goes down. It moves around a little bit. So it is kind of confusing, but you know, it works. And it works really good too. So that tone you heard to start with is channel 2. You might find there's some differences between channel 1 and 2, and that's just potentiometer differences. I find channel 2 on this one is a little bit more mid-heavy, has just the slightest mids. Again, it's potentiometer differences. That's not actually a difference in the preamps themselves. Yeah, so that tone you heard, that's my Dusty Waring signature model from PRS with the Mojo Tone Dusty Waring Tomahawk Gen 2 pickups into an Electric Eye Mudkiller pedal, and then that goes directly into the front of the amp. Okay, so let's go over that again. It's pretty tight. Very tight on the low end. The thing is with the Electric Eye Mudkiller on, I don't have the bass cut whatsoever. This is just a mid boost, unlike most boost pedals that have a low cut and a high end boost as well. I find this doesn't really need it. I mean, let me turn it off real quick. You can hear it's still relatively tight on the low end. It just doesn't have quite the aggression without the pedal. Obviously a drop in drive, so let's turn the drive knob up a little bit here. You can compensate that with the high end here. Now, the high end controls, the treble and the presence are kind of intertwined. So one does affect the other here, but we'll go up a little bit. As you can see, pretty tight, and there's no boost on this whatsoever. I played tech desk with this thing for like 5 years, and I never had a boost on it. It works really good. Or we are in the mid-drive mode right now. It's not super overdriven. I'm not going to mess too much with EQs on you guys. I just want to show you that it can do high gain stuff, but I did want to point out this mid knob does damn near nothing until you get until like 3 o'clock. So as you can see, well, maybe you can't, but it's completely off. And we'll move it up as we play and you'll see. That's at noon. As you can see, nothing. So it gets pretty gnarly. I mean, I like it down a lot of the times, but you can have it up quite a bit and then pair it with this mid-cut knob and it can really make some good tones. But let me turn the boost back on. Take some of this high end back down. Now, I did forget to tell you the signal chain here. So, I told you the guitar into the amp. The amp is going into a Randall isolation cab that has a Chinese-made 8-ohm vintage 30. Not the best speaker, but most people are familiar with it. The mics are an Austrian Audio OC818 and a blended with a little bit of an SM57. I'm not huge on just the SM57s, so get over it. I'm not going to just do that. I want to show you tones that I would probably use in a mix, which is this is the kind of the mic pair that I would do. But let's get some little higher gain stuff and see what happens when we go up to the intense. A lot more a lot more drive. You can hear it from just the hum of the amp as well too. So as you can hear, it can do really high gain stuff. Very, very well. Very good mid-heavy, which is great. Cuts through in a mix. You can get really harsh really quick if you get the presence and the highs up too much. Let's look at this bright and just kind of see what that does. Really gets like an 8K thing. I don't use this very much because it's kind of harsh. And especially when I was running with this V3 cab, which has 16 ohm vintage 30s, it gets really, really scratchy really quickly. So I almost don't use it. What I have used this with is if you got some dull strings, throw that on there, boom, makes a big difference as far as kind of brightening them up a little bit. You shouldn't be playing with dull strings, but sometimes you got to. It is what it is. We're all poor. All right, let's look at this mid cut knob. This thing is like I said, it's weird. Starts at about 900. It goes down and widens at the same time as you go up. So you get that kind of scooped tone coming out of about midway through. I can't play Metallica. I'm not that good. Let's turn that gain down. It's a little too high, honestly. So let's turn it up all the way and see how ridiculously scooped it can be. So if you like black metal, there you go. Sounds like shit. Anyway, sorry. No, it can get pretty extreme. Let's try something real quick. Let's turn these mids all the way up and then just see how it affects that. Interesting. It keeps that kind of clackiness to it with the mids all the way up. So you can do some interesting stuff with those two together combined, just to kind of give it some coolness. But I've used this setting and that mid setting quite a bit, directly at noon for a lot of mixes, which the one coming up soon, I'll show you guys with it in the mix so you can kind of hear how this thing sounds not isolated, because let's face it, that's not what matters really in the grand scheme of things. Okay, let's switch on to the thick setting, and you can hear how this thing saturates in a different way on this setting. Much less drive, as you can see. Turn that up. Ton of bass comes through, saturates across the whole spectrum, as you can see. Really good for kind of doomy stuff if you want, or if you're just doing heavy chords. You know, something like that. It's even good for really like notey chords where you want a lot of stuff to pop out. Maybe a little too saturated. You know, it's good for chordy stuff. It's not the tightest thing, so it's not my favorite setting, to be honest. But I have used it in the past with quite a bit of stuff. Oops, hit the bass knob. All right, let's go to the middle section. This is kind of my favorite. It's much more open, not near as compressed as the other channels. And it's more reactive, especially if you have like this, they're packs of pickups. You can really change how it reacts with how hard you pick, really. I particularly like this one with the mid cut off. Too much drive for me. Yeah, so the mids come through really good, and for someone like me who plays prog metal, it's really good because the chord clarity on this amp, as far as your note separation, is quite amazing. I mean, I know people talk about Mesas having that, and this is almost even another step further. It's just... And that's pretty fucking high gain, to be honest. So, you know, there's no reason this can't work in a lot of different scenarios, which is what I like about this amp. It's very versatile. It's a little difficult to dial in at first for most people because it's not just a plug and play, set everything at noon and it sounds good like a 5150. But you can get so many more different tones out of this. It works for so many different styles, especially someone like me who does prog. You got the 2 channels to really dial in quite a bit of different stuff. You know, maybe something that's more single coil sound for one, another is high gain, you got your clean tones. Pretty much everything on this is, you know, player's choice, which is what makes it great. But I think because of that, people shy away from it because it's not the easiest to get something from. Not that it's hard, you just got to understand it, which I don't think people do. Read your manuals. Most people don't read manuals, and that's why they don't understand this shit. Fucked it up. Now, if you want to hear this in the mix already, my band, the Gola Project, has a song, In Search of Home. It's our only first song out so far that has this in it. One guitar is Mesa F50. The other one is this amp. Both through this cab, which has a 16 ohm vintage 30 and a 16 ohm G1270 in it combined. And if you look on the Gola Project Instagram page, you'll be able to see the mics that we use and whatnot, but that way you can kind of hear this in a mix. So yeah, anyway, so I don't really feel like going over the clean channel right now. Most people have already gone over it pretty good. It's a nice clean channel. This is the Carvin V3. It's a versatile beast. Also, these things are cheap as shit. Since Carvin went under, they didn't retain their value whatsoever. So I've seen these as low as like $500 or $400 for a head, 100-watt head. You know, for that, and it kicks it with the best of them, and roadworthy. I've had this thing in the back of my car and it hit the brakes really hard, and this thing's gone fucking rolling, and it worked just fine later that night in the show. So that is a testament to how durable these things are. So anyway, let's do a couple more riffs, you know, and then call it a day. All right, that wraps it up for the Carvin V3. If you get a chance, go check one out. They're fantastic. You won't regret it, especially now that you kind of understand how some of these controls work. Have a good time. Have fun with it. Anyway, take it easy, everyone. I'll see you next time.